Guardian angels. Yes, guardian angels are real, and the Bible even mentions them more than 100 times. Are you looking for God's angels to work in your life? Throughout history, people around the world have seen angels and felt their comfort and protection. God sometimes uses angels like shepherds who see a sheep straying, and they throw a rock in front of the wandering sheep to startle it, so that it turns around and comes back to the safety of the herd. My story is just like that because God sent His angels to throw rocks ahead of me, to get me to turn back from getting lost and from losing my focus on God. I was 19 years old, and it was a very important foundational time of my life when my faith was growing deeper and stronger. But like those wandering sheep, I too began to stray. It was the night of my high school prom, and I put together a plan of trailering my dad's water skiing boat to the prom so that my date and I could leave the dance early and spend the night all alone on Lake Minnetonka. After we drove the boat to the middle of the big lake, it was pitch black all around us, so I turned the motor off and we began kissing with no one else on the lake. We were on the cusp of getting into trouble when I heard a strange sound. You see, the angels were tossing rocks right in front of me. Apparently, the wind had pushed the boat all the way to shore, so I heard the waves crashing against the docks. When I went to start the boat so that I could drive it back to the middle of the lake, the engine simply would not start. The motor was literally frozen, totally dead, and my escapade was over. I managed to paddle the boat back to someone's dock where I tied it up, and we made the long trek back to the car. By the time I got home, it was 6 a.m., and I was so exhausted I could hardly breathe, and I literally passed out of my bed. But then, just 15 minutes later, my dad exploded into the bedroom screaming, "Where's my boat?" And by the time we got to the boat, the motor was just as stone cold dead as the night before. Turning the key did nothing, and pulling the motor cord was impossible. But then, my dad just happened to turn the key at the same exact moment as I pulled the cord, and the engine started right up. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that God sent an angel to intervene on my behalf. Just think of all that had happened. The wind, the noise of the waves, the airlocked motor, and the long walk back to the car. All these prevented me from making a terrible mistake that I would have regretted for life. I am so thankful to God for sending my guardian angel to protect me. It was a moment when I was headed in the wrong direction that God sent His angel in order to help me to stop from getting lost. I had put myself and my desires ahead of what I knew was right, so I was truly blessed that my angel worked overtime for me. Now think, how many times in our lives do our guardian angels call us, nudge us, and whisper to us if only we'd be open to listening? Yes, listening for a small voice that gently calls, "Come this way. Be careful. You know what's right." Are we looking for God's angels in our lives? Do we hear the sound of God's angels tossing rocks ahead of us to turn back? Or do we choose to listen to Satan's subtle and cunning lies that we are in control, that we're entitled, that we won't get lost, that God's trying to control us, or that we know which way is best?